Hello, friends in compliance. I'm Amber Scott, the co-founder and CEO at Outlier Compliance Group. And since it's been a while, I wanted to pop in and give you some quick notes on FINTRAC's cyber incident and outage, which we're still experiencing, because we're getting a fair few questions on this. So I assume that you might have some questions as well. Here's what we know so far, which, granted, at this point is not a lot. I want to start with the quick disclaimers, which as a compliance nerd, I always do. The most important one, of course, here being the second one, which is to say that I am not an official representative of FINTRAC. And so if they are saying something that's different from what I'm saying to you today, they're most likely right. And that's what you should pay attention to. So we've had a cyber incident in Canada, and this has taken many of FINTRAC's systems offline. This includes most of the reporting systems and the MSB registration system. There are some systems in terms of transaction reporting that remain online. And what I have in quotes here is information that was communicated by FINTRAC via the Canadian Money Service Business Association, or CMSBA. There is, of course, the obligation to continue to keep track of the transactions that we need to report, even if we can't report them. The systems that are online are the API systems. So those are those automated application programming interfaces that exist right now only for a couple of different types of reports: large virtual currency transactions and large cash transactions. I have to stress here that if you haven't already implemented the API systems, this is probably not the time to go through and try to implement and test those systems. But if you already have those systems up and running and you had that up and running prior to the cyber incident, then you're able to continue to use those systems to do your reporting. Some additional reporting considerations. I think that for all reporting entities, we really need to keep track of the backlog of reports that needs to be submitted once the systems are back online. This is going to include keeping records about the timing, including when the outage happened and for what period we're going to have reports that are late. This seems fairly obvious, but I think it's important in the context of an examination that you might have down the road, where this period was part of the period that's being looked at in that examination, and you would need to be able to explain why you had late reports during that period. Of course, there's an expectation that those are not things that are going to be held against you, but we still need to know and have a record of the fact that that happened. Keep track, of course, of any reports that you're going to be submitting late. And once those systems are back online, you want to keep track of the time that it took you to clear out that backlog of reports that will be submitted late. FINTRAC has indicated that we should not be submitting paper reports to FINTRAC, which is to say you don't need to type these up and send them in the mail or try to fax reports to FINTRAC in the interceding time. They really are expecting us to wait until those systems are back online in order to be able to properly file our reporting. And they've indicated that reporting entities aren't going to be penalized for this. If there are priority reports in terms of suspicious transaction reporting, and I think this is an incredibly important risk-based measure, there is a special email address that has been established. So this would be something where there is a clear danger, where there's a threat to national security, where there's potential terrorist financing. There is an avenue to be able to get this information to FINTRAC in the interceding time, and that's the email address that we have up on the screen here. In terms of reporting of terrorist property, it's noteworthy that systems for CSIS and for the RCMP are still up and online. So if you do have terrorist property and you need to submit reports related to that terrorist property, the avenues for this remain open. In terms of money service business registration for those companies that are money services businesses or MSBs, there is an email address that FINTRAC has established that's specific to MSBs, and this predated the cyber incident. So if there's something that you need to submit, whether that be modifications to your MSB registration or information about a new MSB that needs to register with FINTRAC, this is something that you can do via this email address. Where there are relatively minor changes, I think those things can likely wait until the systems are back up and online. And even if you've submitted a change via this email address, once the systems are back up and online, go through your MSB registration and make sure that that's reflected there. And if it's not, make sure that you're making that change to your registration. If you have general inquiries for FINTRAC about something that we haven't covered here and you don't have a representative with FINTRAC that you're in contact with on a regular basis, the email address that I have up on the screen right now is a general FINTRAC email address that can be used for those inquiries. And this would include policy interpretations. I know that we're still seeing many inquiries coming in terms of whether or not businesses are considered to be MSBs. And this is a potential avenue to submit those types of inquiries to FINTRAC directly. If you have questions that my team and I at Outlier can help you with, we have our contact information up on screen right now. And that is it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And I hope that we're all back up online and running and submitting reports to FINTRAC soon. Thanks. Have a great day.